Problems with budget management. The project status report for the third quarter shows some problems with the budget. The status was marked in yellow. You know that budget problems at this moment in the life of the project can have some significant consequences if they are not properly solved. You need to find out the causes for this problem. In your analysis of the budget, you see that the actual costs are higher than the planned value for the same period. Actual costs reported on March are $735,000. The planned value for the same month is $715,000. While it might not seem too much, you know there is not enough time and opportunities to fix this problem. The Cost Performance Index is an indication of how well the project is remaining on the budget. The Cost Performance Index is 0.88. That means that the project is only earning 88 cents for every dollar spent. That raises another problem. The earned value is at 650,000, about 65,000 less than planned. That means the project is not only spending more, but it's not completing all the work as planned. The Schedule Performance Index is a measure that indicates how efficiently the project is actually progressing compared to the planned project schedule. The Schedule Performance Index in the project shows a value of 0.91. That means that less work has been completed than planned work. The SPI value is within range, but it is the CPI value that you need to worry about. Meeting with the finance manager. In order to find out the reasons for these values, you call the finance manager to go over his report. You need to have more information about the causes for the increasing cost of the project and the values he reported to the donor. The donor budget report shows a slight increase in cost at this stage of the project. It could be risky since there are no more funds available if the project runs over budget. If this trend continues for the next month, you need to start preparing the steering committee and ask for unrestricted funds. The finance manager tells you that early in the third quarter there was a large volume of construction material purchased. The total budget spent in quarter 3 was $340,000, and that is $95,000 higher than the previous quarter. That is why the CPA is showing a low value. In the previous quarter, the difference was only $11,000. He explains that the burn rate is 34%, which is higher than any previous quarter. The finance manager recommends that you keep a close eye to avoid any problems in quarter 4. You only have $265,000 available in the budget. And he suggests that you meet with the project team to find ideas to keep the project costs under control. Meeting with the project team. In your weekly meeting with the project team, you ask them for ideas to keep the costs under control. You want to know if there are any areas where costs can be reduced. There's only 3 more months to keep the costs down to finish the project on time and on budget. The construction manager mentions that the construction of the houses is almost finished. There is little room to cut costs now without affecting quality. He reminds you that a large part of the costs incurred in quarter 3 are still in inventory and will be used in the next month, and that will help increase the CPI in quarter 4. The procurement officer tells you that she might be able to get some low bids for the remaining of the material we need to purchase, but there is no guarantee due to the high demand of construction material in the country and the fluctuations in the exchange rate. The project assistant mentions that this is a risk that the project might need more funds, and this is a good time to start preparing for that possibility. She suggests to get an estimate of the total cost at the end of the project and ask the organization for an emergency fund to help cover the additional cost to complete the project on time. Earned value analysis. You need to be prepared in case there is a need for more funds. The balance available is too tight. You need to get a good forecast estimate of the additional funds you will need to ask the steering committee to keep in reserve in case the project runs out of budget. You don't want to surprise them with bad news a few weeks before the project ends. According to the donor budget report, you only have a balance of $265,000. If you keep the same burn rate, you will run out of funds before the project's end date. If the fourth quarter uses the same rate of 34% as reported in quarter 3, you might be short by $75,000. But you know that burn rates are not a good estimate of the total cost of completion. You need to get a better value of the amount of funds you need to ask the project committee. This money will need to come from the organization since the donor was very specific that he will not add more funds to the project. The burn rate calculation may not convince the steering committee. What you need to know is the total cost at the end of the project. You decide to use EVA to get an estimate of the variance at completion of the project. You assume that the project will continue to perform the same until the end. That is, the CPA value for quarter 3 will be the same in quarter 4. You need to know the total cost at the end of the project. This will help you calculate the amount of extra funds you need to ask to the project committee to keep as an emergency reserve.